All right, we are live. Awesome. Okay, well, here we go. This is the April XX Network Public Council meeting. We're going to get going right away here. First, want to jump into our presentations. Rick, you are going to start us off. So, Rick from the Elixir Dev team.
Thanks, Aaron. I just wanted to. We get a lot of feedback on we don't understand how much development is happening. We don't know all the details of the development. I want to kind of start off with just a snapshot of the XX development as it stands this week. These are the major languages we use. We use Go is our main one. For the Android app, we use Kotlin. For iOS, we use Swift. And then for the web stuff, we use TypeScript and JavaScript. And then we also have C and C++ code and protocol buffers and a bunch of other stuff. And you can see there's a substantial amount of code here, right? That's all told, like a little over 500,000 lines of code just in the core Go libraries. And we're using SCC is the tool we're using to generate this. There's a full report if you want to look at every repository. This is just the summary information across all of them. You've got total physical lines of code, a little under 800,000. These estimates are based off of something called Kokomo. You can look it up on Wikipedia, and it's showing a 4.17 year estimated timeline for this with a number of developers is 53. So I can safely say that all of the developers in the project are at minimum 10x developers. And then that cost to develop is not, those are numbers based on data and information from 20 plus years ago. So I don't put a lot of faith in it, but just gives you a sense of the amount of value that the developers across XX Network and Elixir have created here. So in terms of the actual update, so we ran this through a visualization tool. This works based off of querying GitHub for the last week of activity, and then it stacks and ranks the projects. And we picked a bunch of just a few random projects, most of them involving privacy, right? So SushiSwap is active. We were the most active of this set. SushiSwap's another very active project. This is the Wasabi wallet here at rank 3. And if you scroll down, you'll see, I think, Nim and a few other projects. We'll just give it a minute. Zcash.
Zcash.
Yeah. And don't put a lot of faith in these numbers. These are this is only based on the commit activity from the last 7 days or so when we ran it, which was a couple days ago. And if it wants to get to the bottom, you'll see that there was a project that hasn't had updates since March. I think it's Samurai Wallet because they're on a different development pacing than we are. So no activity there. And that is pretty good considering we have, I think, 3 developers either on vacation or out due to sickness right now. So even in kind of what I would consider a light week, we're showing that we are very active on the development front here. So in terms of the Elixir side of the house here, right, the Speakeasy beta launch is extremely close. That's going to happen this quarter. If you look on the right-hand side there, when that image loads, that's our roadmap. And we're kind of in between the Q1 and Q2 in terms of tasking, which is typical. That's typically how this goes when you do development. So we're ahead on some things and behind on some others. And some other things had to shift out. And we're due for an update on this roadmap, which we'll do when we get the Speakeasy beta launch done. As part of that, Speakeasy has admin and moderation controls now, which it didn't have when we last spoke. I think it was January. We have channel links where you can send a link to someone, they'll be able to join the channel. We have direct messaging support, which is a huge undertaking. We have multi-device support, so you can be logged in at different computers, and that's that doesn't count all the other minor things, reactions and things like that we've added that are just kind of user interface sugar. In progress, file transfer is imminent. That's coming out soon. We're working on direct messaging links. So you can put on your website, hey, DM me, and it works kind of like an email. You click the button, you can start sending someone messages right away. We also have Android and iOS apps. Those are going to come out when we do the beta launch. We have this new feature called Fast Rag and No Rag that should be rolling out next week. That's going to significantly decrease the amount of time it takes for a new account to connect to the network. And then we have this decentralized account sync feature, which is going to allow very robust synchronization from desktop to phone to other desktop, which is and that's going to be controlled in a decentralized manner, which is unprecedented in in the space in general. When you're on Signal or WhatsApp, that orchestration of that synchronization between the clients is all done through the central server, and there won't be a central server here. It'll be a server or cloud resource that you control. In terms of the other two big pieces we have two libraries coming out. We have the JavaScript library that is on the NPM package manager, the Node package manager. You can go get it right now. We have people. I think it had almost 1,000 downloads last time I checked. We also got that HTTP2 and TLS working perfectly, and that was a huge undertaking.
Could you quickly just explain the significance of that to the audience?
So that HTTPS, I'm just going to call it HTTPS, the secure HTTP feature, that was kind of the biggest known blocker for productizing this thing across the web. There is, a centralization problem with TLS certificates. You have to go to one of these certificate authorities to issue these tickets. These TLS certificates, and we were able to do that where you get a certificate, but it is also not critical to our security model. So anybody who issues a certificate, you can go get a certificate from. That fixes the connectivity issues in terms of the web browser. So it gives us access to web browser features that you wouldn't otherwise have access to if you don't have those certificates. So it's critical in terms of the speed and performance of this thing to have access to the crypto library inside of the browser, which you can't get access to unless you have these HTTPS certificates installed on all the different nodes and gateways of the network. And what we've done is we have this certificate layer, which works off of the traditional CA system, and then we have the original layer with our own network definition based certificates. So, and we check for both, and that means that we can have traditional native clients, and we can have web clients, which I'm not sure I've seen anybody else do yet. It's really impressive. Normally what people do is they build a web REST interface to their device, and now you've got another service in between you and the rest of the blockchain and the rest of the network. And in our case, no, you're directly connected to every node on the network.
Yeah, that's
on the CMix side.
Yeah, like staying in line with the whole decentralization ethos, not adding more centralized services in between, right?
Yeah, and this NPM package as well, it has, in addition to having that baked into it, it also has sort of all of the base functionality of the platform. So anybody who wants to build with XX Network can do it with NPM right now in JavaScript. And then likewise, for .NET, we have a library that supports partial support. So it's the CMix and the direct message module. So you can do CMix functions and direct message functions. So CMix is kind of the base module that everything depends on. And then DM is one of the advanced modules that we've added recently in the last 6 months. And we're going to be filling in the gap over the summer to have complete support for C, C++, and any .NET projects moving forward. And that doesn't just mean Windows. This is a .NET library that works cross-platform on Mac OS, the ARM and the x86 version, Windows, ARM, and x86, and we also have Linux, ARM, and x86. And if you need to, we can make it build for Open Solaris or something like that, but we haven't. Nobody's asked us for that, but it's all set up to go. So if you need it, you ask me for it. And what we're going to be doing in the next probably May, June, let's just say June or July, we're going to have a NuGet package, which is like the NPM of the .NET ecosystem that's available for people coming out. So, to summarize everything I've just told you, the Elixir side of the house, and I guarantee you the other side of the house is too, we're on fire right now. And with that, I'll yield my time.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Okay. So, Bernie, we're moving on to you now. You can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. So the first thing I want to talk about is proxy. So we have already released the code base. It's open source, and there's a relay server that is live for testing already. So anyone can go and test this. The only thing is there's only a command line interface right now, so you can run a client on your computer. But so obviously this is more geared towards devs, not for the regular user. and the desktop app and website will be releasing soon. All right, yeah, I hope people can see it. So this is the proxy website. So will be a website that will come together with the app so that the user experience is good. So first of all, it says to download the app, but obviously this is not ready yet. So I'm not going to download the app. I actually already have it installed. So here is the app. So this is the actual proxy app, which will be a desktop app to begin with. So you'll be able to download it and use it. So here we can then follow the steps. So the first step is to connect the proxy app. So you can check this button, verify the connection, saying, oh, you're not connected. So now here we're going to connect to the CMix network. So this usually can take a while because, like Rick said, you're actually connecting to a bunch, like 300 plus decentralized nodes all over the world. And you're registering with the network, all of those steps. So I think when you do it for the first time, Rick can correct me, but when you're creating, like registering for the first time, it can take longer. But then like on follow-up connections, it could be a bit faster. But yeah, that's not that bad. It's always like less than 30 seconds.
So well, it's about to be less than 5 when we push out this next feature.
Yeah, exactly.
Close,
so
close.
You guys are building on new stuff. That's great. So now we see we're connected to proxy. So this is literally, there's an HTTP server here, like locally within this app. And this is just verifying if that port is open. So it's nothing like special. Yeah, now we're gonna connect our MetaMask wallet. So just standard connection with MetaMask. And then finally, we will have all like the supported networks from the proxy relay server. So right now, since it's just a testing server, we are not actually supporting all these networks. These are mainnets. So we'll check out the test nets we have, and we can try and connect to Goerli, for example. So this will actually prompt the user to add the network in MetaMask. And you can see here, it's just going to connect via the proxy app. So the user can approve that. And yeah, so this can take a bit of time because it's actually connecting now to this Goerli testnet over CMix. So it's going through the proxy app over CMix to the relay server. And yeah, so now the user says, okay, I want to switch to that network. And now MetaMask is connected to this network. So you can see that it's still connecting. So this is where things, as they are right now, they could be improved a lot. But for a first version, it's always going to be a bit slower. Like your experience with MetaMask is not going to be as you're used to, because every single thing that's happening has to go over CMix all the way to the relay server, connect to the actual blockchain, come all the way back to you. So all these round trips can take like 10, 12 seconds each. But yeah, it works. Like some of this stuff, like, oh, you will see this a lot, like the balance may be outdated because it has to query your balance. So obviously we don't want to protect the privacy only when you're sending a transaction. It's also important to do that when you're querying the blockchain, because the RPC endpoint could be just logging every single request you do. Most of the times they log only transactions because that's really what they can use to like de-anonymize or like deep pseudonymize, let's say, the blockchain. But yeah, we want to try and like have this protection for everything we want. So yeah, we can try to do a transaction. From like the testing I've done, when you do a regular transaction on Ethereum, of course, it can be slow because of gas. Goerli testnet is pretty slow right now since they decided to make Goerli a coin with value. So you can swap Goerli, which was always a testnet, with a faucet for real Ethereum now. So that's weird. But yeah, usually a transaction can take 15, 30 seconds. And through my experience testing proxy, it can go up to like 1.5 minutes up to 2 minutes. So it's not like incredibly slow, particularly for a first version, I think. So all the things that Rick was talking about, any improvements that will be done to XXDK to make these connections over CMix faster will be directly translated to speed in the proxy app without any other changes, right? So yeah, just sending a transaction now. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
So now the transaction is sent, but yeah, what happens as well is you send a transaction. Most likely the transaction already happened on the blockchain right now, but it still takes a long time to like query over CMix the blockchain and say, oh, did it actually happen or not? So only when that is done, it will actually send back the receipt to MetaMask, and MetaMask will be like, oh, okay, this transaction already actually happened. So you could have this be faster. if you implement it in a way that's more compatible with like connecting over CMIX. So that means like actually modifying MetaMask, which obviously we can't do. So this is the best option for a first like stab at demonstrating this technology. Obviously, if you're going to integrate proxy directly into a wallet that you control and you can develop yourself, you can have a way better experience that you can create, because MetaMask's assuming that the RPC endpoint will reply to you within not even half a second, way less. So it can do whatever number of requests it wants, and it expects them to be very fast. When over CMIX, that's obviously not true. So like limiting the number of requests you do is number one on optimizing this. But yeah, as you can see, the transaction worked fine, and like the Ethereum or the Whirly Ethereum is now in this account. But yeah, that's it for this small proxy demo. Yeah,
Great.
I'll stop sharing my screen now. And
As someone who uses Tor and other networks a lot, that is actually pretty fast. I think faster than Tor has been recently because it's been overloaded lately.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah. Directly going like past this proxy thing, as I mentioned just a bit on when talking about proxies, that if you do your own wallet, you can get a much better experience. So that's our like natural next step. So we want to create an XX wallet extension, which the main thing we want to do is improve the UX for users to have a single place where you can create and use XX. Right now, it's a bit of a mess. You can create a sleeve wallet in the web wallet, in the staking platform, in the sleeve website for generating wallets. So we want to get rid of all of that and be like, okay, here's the extension. You can create a wallet with sleeve, and then using that extension, you can transfer directly from the extension. That's like limited, very small capability. And then you can connect to the web wallet for advanced usage, or you can connect to the staking platform to stake. And this is what we want for the first version. But then in the future, we can actually integrate like one-click staking instead of having simple staking as a website into that extension. So there's wallets are doing that, like Talisman and Subwallet. I think they want to do that for most Substrate networks, but our staking is a bit different than the regular Substrate staking because we modified the staking palette. So for now we should have our own solution before we can integrate with those. So that's the natural next step for this. And then, of course, we want to integrate proxy tech directly into this extension so you can finally send XX over CMIX. You can ask, like, why are we not doing this with the proxy app already? It's because the way that Substrate networks work is a bit different than EVM networks. So first of all, it's always WebSocket connections, not just pure HTTP, which is much harder to do over CMIX. I've tested it out, actually. I made it work one time. I just had the whole web wallet of XX running over CMIX, but the experience is really, really bad. It's really slow because Substrate networks are so unique that you have a runtime from the blockchain in the blockchain. So the first thing that the web page does, or the wallet, is, oh, give me the runtime. I want to know which network I'm connected to. What are its capabilities? That runtime is like 0.5 megabyte. So sending that over CMIX is obviously not a good idea. So we need to do a like tailor-made solution where you have the runtime embedded into the wallet, and then you update that manually when each network updates. And yeah, that can lead us to then in the future we can support in this extension other Substrate networks. So maybe we'll see Polkadot over CMIX or other Substrate networks, coins over CMIX. Yeah. So another thing that will actually probably happen before the extension is the changes to the web wallet. So we're still finalizing integrating our specific XX network changes with the latest Polkadot.js apps. So that's always hard because they actually move quite fast. So every week we have to pull in new updates and see what breaks and fix them. And yeah, this will be required for the next chain runtime upgrade, which, as you can see under, is we want to do that. We've been wanting to do that for a while. Our Substrate code base in runtime is stuck since mainnet launch, basically. So we want to bring like the latest functionality from multiple palettes. This will unlock like better asset and NFT functionality, which we hope like developers can then build on XX on this stuff. This is not like EVM, so it's not going to be simple to just build assets or NFT because everyone's building that with smart contracts, with EVM. It's very easy to do that, but you can actually do much more performant things with native assets and native NFT functionality in Substrate. It's just there's not enough developers doing that yet. But we hope that we can get this in at a point in time where maybe the narrative starts changing a bit. And finally, we have the future projects. We're still, like, Foundation is still working to evaluate which priorities we have and which of these future projects we want to, like, pursue next. My personal opinion is we should pursue the bridge to EVM chains. So I think the community has asked for that quite a lot. If we can connect to Ethereum and then have a wrapped XX coin being tradable on the excess like Uniswap. So yeah, we're definitely gearing towards that, but we want to, like, close this other stuff like proxy and the extension first. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Bernie. I'll go ahead and start on what's happening lately in social media. You know, as people who follow us know, we started doing live Twitter spaces about a month ago, and those have actually gone really well. The numbers have been in the thousands for views. You know, while they were live, we would probably have, like, I think about 500 or 600 people at a time, which, as Twitter spaces go, is actually quite a bit of engagement. And that's at peak time, right? So then after those are over, we were getting, you know, upwards of like 2,500 views on those Twitter spaces. And it's been going well. One of the goals for those is actually to create relationships between us and any guests that we invite from other projects. And it's all about timing, right? Because they have a development roadmap that they're executing on, and so do we. And it's more a matter of the stars aligning for both of our projects for whoever we've been creating these relationships with. So if people that, you know, are familiar with Crushed, who we had an official partnership started in the past, you know, they're doing certain aspects of development on their end, and we are too. There will be in the future opportunities for, you know, that particular project to work more with us, and we do stay in contact. I actually frequently talk with Ludwig from their group. Also, you may have noticed we, you know, met with people like Safe Haven, a project. There's some other people that we've talked to, like Panther Protocol, Alliance Block, like different people that we've had in our social media channels for Twitter Spaces. So that's an ongoing thing. We'll continue to do that, and we will only get better. We understand that there's always more that we can do to expand our outreach and become known by more and more people across the crypto space. One of the newest things that we're doing in that regard is adding this multicast streaming capability. And we're using StreamYard to do that, which is an amazing platform. So earlier this week, we had a live stream with Andrew Bustamante and David, which was fire for sure, and a great show that anybody can watch on our YouTube channel. It is documented there, so you can go check that out and share it with people. That's on the social media side. You'll notice the point there. It says new Turkish KOL Efe Bulduk. There is an announcement coming up on that very quickly here. Efe, you know, we've met with him through our amazing, as I usually say, our amazing Turkish community leaders have set that up. You know, specific shout out to MyCrypto and Nautilus for helping with that. You guys are awesome. And I see you in the chat there, MyCrypto. So that's a big one coming up. So keep your eye out. An announcement will be coming probably beginning of next week on that. For fundraising initiatives, I'm going to let Samir kind of take over and chat however he wants about that.
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, thanks all for coming out. It's great to do these sessions and connect with the community. It's been a really busy few months here for us, and we've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline that we're super excited to share with you. One of the core kind of projects that the foundation has been working on is fundraising initiative, and that's kind of a two-pronged effort. Firstly, we've approached some of our existing investor network as well as a few new parties, and we are working on closing a small private round. Obviously, the market has been a little bit turbulent over the past couple months, in the past year, really, a lot of negative news surrounding the crypto industry. So we've kind of given ourselves a little bit of breathing room and helped extend the runway so that the foundation is able to grow a little bit, build out a larger team, and start to tackle some of the bigger projects that we want to undertake. Coming off the back of that, our strategy moving forward is more of a kind of cross-pollination effect. So trying to find synergies with existing blockchain and Web3 projects that are already in the space or that are looking to enter the space, and trying to really get that proven organic growth through the network. That being said, we have some projects underway already. The real goal here is to both create traction, but also be able to create more demand for the XX token, and in turn have more funding for the foundation. Some of the things that are being worked on by the dev team, like Proxy and the wallet extension and the XXPK, all of these things go towards making the XX network a lot more usable and more attractive to builders in the space. So we're looking to get more exposure on that front and start to announce some really large-scale projects that we can hope will benefit the whole industry as a whole. I guess that kind of leads into the next topic here, which is token ecosystem development, which I touched on a little bit. With finding use cases for CMEX, what we're able to do is actually have real utility in the XX coin ecosystem. And some of the things we're working on have a bit of an interoperable flair to it. Like, for example, when Bernie's talking about bridging with Ethereum, both having a token wrapped on the Ethereum network, but also with an app like Proxy that connects to your MetaMask, we're creating more functionality for the XX network. And I think over the next few months here, you're going to see a lot of cool projects that are able to interact with us now and start to build and expand on our horizon. I think Aaron and I have been working together on about half a dozen different ecosystem development projects. Nothing concrete we can announce yet, but there are some new pretty exciting projects in the decentralized social media space that we've been talking to that we're looking forward to announcing over the coming months. XX is finally at a point where we're ready for decentralized apps to really be able to flourish within our ecosystem. So that's been a goal of ours for a long time, and it's something we're really looking forward to.
Amen to that. Yeah, so, you know, touching on the marketing and events side, just to go back to it, you know, some of the things that Samir has had an opportunity to do was meet with a lot of different projects. When he, for instance, attended the Satoshi Roundtable event in Dubai. Dubai, right, Samir?
Yeah, I was in Dubai, and like just touching on that a little bit more. I went to that event with David, and it was really awesome to be able to spend some quality time with him and just see how well respected he is across the industry. And some of the conversations that came out of that were just super inspiring and motivating, and it's incredible to be a part of something like this. But I've always said since the beginning of my time in crypto that what kind of differentiates us from a lot of the tech space is the ability to coexist and collaborate on things rather than be, you know, direct competitors in such a budding industry. And you know, we were even having conversations with guys like Harry over at NIM, where you have like-minded individuals that are super visionary, like David, and trying to find ways to coexist and work together to really drive the industry forward. It's just really awesome to see initiatives like that. And I think we have upwards of 75 leads that stem from just that event. There's a lot of amazing things happening in the Middle East region. We have the luxury of being based in the Cayman Islands, which is one of the front-running jurisdictions in the digital asset space. And with what's happening in Dubai right now as well, we're trying to lay some groundwork there so that we're actively involved in these leading jurisdictions around the world where blockchain is going to be the future. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming from there and a lot of leads that we're still following up on.
Yeah. The last point on there, the XX Foundation additions. So some big changes have been in the works just structurally for the foundation, trying to become more organized. We can be more efficient with how we operate. And So we made some additions to the XX Foundation board and what we would call the administrative operating group for the foundation. I have been added to the XX Foundation director board along with Jim Dolbear, and also Samir has been added officially as an administrative officer for the foundation so that he can act on behalf of the foundation for essentially for legal or business operations. Is that how you would frame that, Samir?
Yeah,
That's
definitely. We're just slowly fleshing out the structure here in Cayman and creating something functional and efficient that we're able to move forward with.
Right. So it may be a little boring for some people, but it's actually a really positive step for us as a foundation in order to operate efficiently and get things done quickly. So we just wanted to add that in there. So I'll go to the next slide.
Yeah, I think it's important not to downplay like the whole corporate governance side of things, especially with the mess we've seen across various organizations in the crypto space. It's really important that we've taken the steps to do things properly and making sure that the organization is sound from a structure perspective.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So in the wrap-up phase here, obviously we're just going to give opportunity for anybody from the various teams here. There's Rick or Bernie. If you have anything else to add, feel free. And I'm also probably going to look through our chat and see if there's any relevant questions that people asked and see if we can get somebody to answer some of those. I also have one more thing to share at the very end, which is kind of cool. So we'll show that. Do any of you guys have anything else to say by chance?
We're working really hard. There's a lot of really exciting, after years of effort here, there's a lot of really exciting technology we're able to build sort of the last mile now. And that is, it's been amazing seeing that change in the last 6 months. We've kind of hit that inflection point. Now we're able to build with this in ways that you haven't been able to build in the past. Anything like what we're able to build now.
Well, and one thing to point out, Rick, and I like a lot of people don't really understand, like you're working with technologies that did not exist before. Like it's not like you're going and taking people's technology and just like grafting into next. You're having to start from scratch and literally create everything yourselves. And you're doing it extremely fast when you consider that. They're pioneering or trailblazing the privacy technology space. And a lot of people don't really understand that. Eventually they will when things go a bit more mainstream, but
at Capital Network there, yes, Jim will continue doing public attending conferences and interviews. I think more members of our team are going to be doing that. So we're trying to get out there and do things. You're going to see us popping up at conferences, and if we have any big events at conferences, you'll know about it if you follow us.
Awesome. Okay. So the one more thing there, as you can see on the slide there. Oh, one more thing. I will just quickly. I want to pull up something. This it's kind of like a past, present, future roadmap. So as you can see, this shows some of the key developments from 2022 going back to mainnet launch. I will be distributing this out to the community so people can get their hands on it. It shows all of 2022 major developments that happened. So it gives you an idea of what we've done so far. And moving on into this year, we have Q1, Q2, Q3 on here. These are some of the items, some of the more significant ones. There's actually some more that can be added here, but we're kind of keeping them under our hat for the moment. But this model of roadmap, we will add to it in the future, and you'll see future iterations of this. So yeah, we just wanted to drop this out there. I know a lot of people have been asking for it, and we hope you like it. That is pretty much it for us for today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this will be recorded and you can watch it on the YouTube channel whenever you want. We will see you all in the Speakeasy channel if you have more questions. And everybody have a good weekend. And thanks to all our presenters. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.